name is Rachel Lambert-Forsyth and I studied a BSc in Marine Biology and Coastal Ecology, and then I followed that with a Master's in Sustainable Environmental Management, and I graduated in 2008. So I finished my Master's at Plymouth, and I was really lucky. I was applying for jobs over the summer while I was writing my dissertation, and I joined the Institute of Biology, as it was then called, as an education administrator. The reason I joined, I realised I needed some office experience. I wasn't going to go into a research role, and it gave me opportunity to come to London to gain that experience and find out what it was like working within an office and policy environment. I then was promoted within about 2 months to Head of Education. We were merging, people left, and opportunities arose for me. And I did that role for sort of 2-3 years, working with our teachers and our higher education members, particularly looking at policy curriculum development. I then was promoted to Director of Education and Training, so I took on our training areas, our professional development areas as well, had a bigger team, was managing a number of staff, and was developing our programmes of work there as well. I also had baby during that time, so I took some time off and came back to work to that promotion. And then in the last year or so, I've had another baby over the last couple of years, and then I came back as Director of Membership and Professional Affairs this January, and that's my current role here at the moment. So I've worked for 3 versions of the organisation, and I've worked here since I graduated, which is quite unusual in this day and age. So my current role is Director of Membership and Professional Affairs at the Royal Society of Biology, and that entails being responsible for all of our membership benefits, our training, our professional registers, and our events, and also our regional activity, and also working with our Chief Executive and other directors, trustees and committees to ensure good governance of the organisation. The most difficult thing is probably actually being relatively young in my role. So I am in a senior management role, and I often feel that people don't respect my opinion or the experience that I have, and I have to prove myself time and time again. So I've kind of learned to be quite forceful in my opinions, but also to do the research behind it as well, so that I can come in with evidence of why my suggestions are worthwhile doing. And also learnt to develop my networks as well, so that if I am suggesting something new or innovative, I have backers who can say that that would work. So that kind of gets away from the, oh, you're too young, you don't know what you're doing type of response. The best thing that I've done in my career so far was actually this summer. We hosted the International Biology Olympiad at the University of Warwick over the summer. So this is a massive competition for students from across the world. So we welcomed 64 countries, 250 students from across those countries, and 300 adults onto the university campus for a week, where they undertook 2 exams, a theory and a practical exam in biosciences, but they also did a whole host of social activities. We had a science ceilidh, we had science communication events, we had hands-on science exhibitions. They went out to Warwick Castle and saw jousting, and they also did a number of different social activities to give them a flavour of British culture. It was an absolutely exhausting, long days, 4-hour sleeps each night, but it was just brilliant to get to the end of the week and to know that everyone had had a brilliant time and they'd really enjoyed their experience in the UK, but also that they could see how amazing the science is in the UK as well, and we'd really showcase that. I worked alongside my degrees, and I worked as a waitress, which was really fun and it got great tips, but it didn't really help me in the long run. So I would probably tell myself to find a part-time job that helped me in my future career. even if that's just working in an office experience or doing a more administrative process, because I've finished both degrees and suddenly realised I had no hands-on experience to my name, and that was quite difficult when applying for jobs. I chose to continue into a postgraduate course at Plymouth because I'd already had an amazing 3 years doing an undergraduate down in Plymouth, and I wasn't quite ready to leave. And I was looking around for what would be my next step. And I spoke to the course leader of the Masters in Sustainable Environmental Management, and it seemed like the right thing for me at that point in time. It allowed me to take my scientific background from the undergraduate, but to develop it in a policy role and to use it to debate issues like fisheries policy, climate change, the Antarctic Treaty, Kyoto Protocol, and also gave me opportunities to undertake work-based learning as well. There was a module that you could choose to do in the second term, and that really appealed to me. So I decided to stay, and I'm really glad that I did. I have actually been told that my MSc and specifically the work-based learning that I did as part of my Masters is what made me get my job here. So when I interviewed for the role at the Institute of Biology, I talked about the 12-week placement I did at Devon County Council and the policy work, and I was able to give concrete examples of pieces of work that I'd completed during that period of time. And since talking later on to my interviewers, they said that that was what made me stand out. So my favourite memory of studying at uni actually has nothing to do with my course. I was a hockey player, well I still am, and I chaired the hockey club for 2 years, and I made friends for life there. In fact, I met my husband there, and I just have great memories of playing and socialising with the hockey club, and being involved in the sports club alongside my degrees was great fun. I absolutely would recommend taking a postgraduate course at Plymouth University. They were hugely supportive of all the students on our course. Our course was relatively small, there was only 12 individuals on it as well, so it felt really personal learning. We got very personal support from the tutors and from those involved with the course. And as I said earlier, it set me up for my job here. It allowed me to give clear examples of why someone should employ me because of the fact that I'd completed a Masters there.